Welcome to Gentle Birth TV, and we're here today interviewing the amazing Gail Tully from Spinning Babies. I'm Tracy Donegan, and I hope you'll spend a couple of minutes with us talking to Gail about some of the most common questions that come up for our Gentle Birth moms about positioning for pregnancy and birth. Gail, you're very welcome.
Thank you for having me.
What brings you to the Bay Area this weekend?
Spinning Babies workshops with Chris McBride, with Thrive Birth Center, and with Petaluma Hospital.
Lovely. And how did your workshop go yesterday?
It was fun. We only knew about that one for 5 days.
Wow.
So we had about 14, and it was really sweet. I think it was very intimate that way.
Yeah. And we've just, for the viewers, we've just watched a fabulous, what do we call it, a vision or a...
Yeah, a nice little photo shoot.
Of a mom having her belly painted by dad. So I'm sure we'll see photos on your site.
Belly painting is a natural spin-off of belly mapping, which is a way mothers themselves can figure out their baby's position.
Wonderful. Tell me more about the 3 principles, because this is something that comes up, and I've read about it on the website, and some of the parents they're interested to know what they can do during pregnancy to help their baby into the best position for the best birth possible.
Right. Whether or not the mother knows her baby's position, she can apply the 3 principles of Spinning Babies, which is to put balance first, followed by gravity and movement. So balance, gravity, and movement are 3 principles. And in natural birth, we know gravity and movement. Mm-hmm. We're always talking about get the mom up, get her moving. And that works a lot of time to help labor progress smoothly. But for a few women, they do all the same things and the baby isn't coming. And so my question for, since the mid-'80s has been, why not? What can we do for that mother to help her baby come? Yeah. And babies sometimes need to help rotating into the spaces of the pelvis where there's room to move down to the next lower level. And then they turn again to fit a little bit lower. It's like a key in a lock, unlocking the door and opening the door of birth in this case, right?
Yeah.
So what is there? People talk about the pelvis. Well, is the baby too big for the pelvis? So much talk about how big is the baby?
Yes.
And so unimportant, really. Mm-hmm. If the baby's healthy and big enough, that's our concern, right? Yeah. So for the mother with the baby that is large, or the mother with the baby that's facing forward in the sunny side up or posterior position, we would really like the muscles to be soft as butter so the baby can just turn with the contraction.
Nice.
The uterine contractions come as surges to pulsate really in a slow way the baby into position, into the pelvis first before moving down through the pelvis. So having a good position helps the baby get into the pelvis first off.
I think that was one of the first places I read about the concept of rotational surges. I think it was through your work, because I think there's this focus, especially for moms who are not in labour yet, but they're feeling this activity of the uterus, and they have this idea that it's false labour, that's not.
And
I've always said, the body is doing the work. It's helping your baby rotate into that perfect position, because I think sometimes we think that the baby's just coming straight down and it's like straight down and out, but it has to rotate and spiral.
Yeah. And so there's this optimal fetal positioning that has arose from the work of Jean Sutton, a midwife in New Zealand. And it's been simplified over the years to think that only the baby on the left facing back is the ideal position, is the optimal fetal position. But that's really about 1 in 10 babies. The baby that's on the left facing the right hip is much more common and just as ideal. Even the baby that's on the left that's facing a little bit forward has an easier time rotating than the baby that's on the right that's facing a little bit forward.
And when moms go to their prenatal appointments, do you think it's important that they talk to their care provider about what position the baby's in? And because I, of course, other than recommending Spinning Babies, that I encourage moms to palpate their own bump, and it's almost like they're afraid to feel where baby is lying.
People can be afraid to press too much, but the baby's well protected, And we want to feel through the fluid onto the contours of the baby's body, so that they can feel what side is firm, what side is soft, where are the biggest kicks, where's the bulge of the bottom pushing up, is the baby lined up with the pelvis. And it helps the baby to move down to be in a good starting position because the chin is tucked to the chest. And that's really more important than fetal position. So when a mother asks her provider, what is my baby's position? The provider might have two answers. They might give an accurate scientific response, but they might have an emotional feeling of, I don't want to worry the mother, so I'm not going to pay attention to fetal position because babies change positions. It's true, babies change positions, but they always change position to fit the space available. So if it's tight, maybe from core strength exercises to get an abdomen like an adolescent boy's abdomen, the baby might find it hard to get into that flex position that they expect from the soft abdomen of a pregnant woman in that case. Or maybe movement from sports has habitually made it tighter on one side, usually the right. Driving a car where we're using our right leg all the time. Accidents, twists and falls, or twists and movements like lifting, repetitive occupational movements that involve a twist. So we live in gravity, so some of these things affect us as beings that live in gravity, and we have to restore the balance to make room for the baby. For the typical mother now that's in the modern cities of today, the mother that moves agricultural societies, moves squatting and stooping and walking miles, she's not likely to have this issue. But wearing heels, walking on concrete, sitting hours a day, we're seeing that women really benefit from just opening up their space, relaxing muscles that are tight, supporting muscles that are loose. So not too tight, not too loose. That's what balance means. Very simple.
Finding the balance.
Mothers can do things themselves or get referred to body workers. And so that's why I put balance as the first principle and gravity and movement after we've taken care of making room for the baby.
Balance is first.
And that way we don't have to know the baby's position, because often as midwives and doctors, we're not always right. And I've noticed even sonographers have made little mistakes sometimes that don't give a totally accurate position. So what difference does it make? Let's make the muscles soft, take out spasms. How do we know if we need to do it? Women who have uncomfortableness in pregnancy to the point of lack of sleep, or they don't want to walk, or they feel pain, that's a sign of a pelvic instability. We can fix that with certain exercises she does herself. They're really simple. I'm calling them exercises, but it doesn't have to be a rigorous workout whatsoever.
They're because I've seen they're gentle, and they're really for anyone who's had a healthy pregnancy. It's something that they can do throughout their pregnancy. Is there a time when you would suggest that they begin the exercises in pregnancy?
I find really notable results when a woman starts about 20 weeks, and I see good results starting at 30 weeks. But I don't always see results if someone waits till 37 or 40 weeks. By the time the doctor says we have a problem with the fetal position, a few women, because of chronic tension or some particular situation, and sometimes it's a low metabolic function, like low thyroid. This mother really needs to start working on it early. Even sometimes before pregnancy. But those women are few. They're the women that contact me at Spinning Babies, right? The women that find it easy to make space for the baby are going about their business, adding in calf stretches, squats, walking, sitting with their belly like a hammock so baby can come into the front. Is not sitting like a banana, so shoulders back and open, your head back over your
exactly
hips.
What I'm not doing right now.
Right, because in the 70s, it became socially encouraged to slouch and to sit back in our chairs, right? In the 60s, women sat up, put their feet on the ground. My grandmother said, sit with your knees together. And as a teenager in the 70s, my friend said, well, you're really square. You know, so quickly I learned to slouch.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I think as well the bucket seats in cars and kind of, encourage us to sit
and
low and back. And
the bucket seat in a car is there for our safety. So we don't want to put a cushion in the car.
Yeah.
Because when we brake, we want the bucket to hold us.
To take the, yeah.
But other than that, sitting back puts us on our sacrum, which makes the sacrum less mobile. We put our weight on it. All of the muscles constrict, the ligaments, the joints. We don't have fluidity. We don't have suppleness. So we need to start to have more motion in our
Soften
sacrum.
everything up.